So, Councillor Sharkey, Stuart Milne Homes' first bid to build homes on Honeybog Hill was defeated in 2012. How did you get involved in the campaign? How did it start up?
Well, thanks for mentioning the fact I was involved in 2012, but actually there's been attempts to build houses there for years and years. One of my constituents, she's in her 90s now, she says it's practically every 10 years that they bring this up. But again, every 10 years the community gets together and says, no, we don't want your building there. Not from an NIMBY, not in my backyard issue, but just about preserving the quality of life in the area. And that's something that people of Ralston feel very strongly about.
So you opposed to, are the community opposed to any kind of development on there, or is it specifically housing there?
On there, yes. That would be absolutely correct. The point of is keeping that particular hill in the condition that it is right now. I mean, I don't think we'd object to a wee bit of farming on it, right? It's currently a farmer, has permission to use it. But the most important thing is about maintaining that fresh air, fresh space.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're a part of the committee in 2012. How and why did the community mobilise in such large numbers?
Well, again, it's a very interesting part about how they organise in Ralston. You're absolutely right. I've been a member of a lot of committees that take to do with the campaigning over various issues. I've been involved in politics over 30 years now, so it's happened a number of times. This one in particular was unusual in that it didn't actually have the most recent one didn't have that committee structure at all. It was very much a social media run campaign, and I very much enjoyed that part of it, because again that was a totally new experience for me.
Was there any appetite within the council or pressure from the council to approve the plans?
Under the rules, right, that the councils have, we have to take what are known as quasi-judicial decisions over this. Sorry about but it's basically what it means is we're not allowed to be influenced or to influence in making those decisions. I'm very lucky. I'm not on the planning committee, right? I'm free to say these things. But councillors who are on the planning committee have to be very careful and guarded about what they say during the process. Obviously they're entitled to their opinion, but they have to be very careful what they say in the process, because it might poison the process and give a reason for the decision to be overturned. So we're very careful when we're doing that. But the council itself is the judge. That's where the judicial bit of this comes from. So it has to be neutral in that matter. So there isn't any pressure from the council as a body. Right. Obviously, anybody's entitled to lobby us, and we are entitled to take our own opinions. And I've always been absolutely clear about the Honeybog Hill. I agree with local people that it should not be touched, the hill itself.
Could you see any benefits to there being housing on the hill? No. So were Stuart Milne Homes, in your opinion, reasonable and easy to deal with?
Well, it's mainly their agent that I've had to deal with in the more recent campaign. But even in the past, they've always been polite, right, and reasonable in their dealings with me. So I've got no criticism, of them on that front. My criticism of them is that they shouldn't have this plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Why did they renew interest after they were defeated the first time?
Again, that's a question you would have to ask them, and it's something that they've never let on to me. But it doesn't take much to guess that a company that makes money out of building houses would want to build houses in a place where they would make money out of it.
Yeah, sure.
Because I mean, it's as far as the developer's concerned, it's an absolutely ideal site. Right,
So Ralston's quite a privileged area. Does it have a responsibility to take on more housing in the midst of, because we've got a housing crisis at the moment and there's a shortage?
The responsibility actually falls to the council, and we are currently looking at various sites around Paisley that where housing should be. absolutely clear on housing being built. In fact, right next door to the building we're in right now, there was housing built on the site of the old council offices. And that's the sort of thing I support, building on brownfield sites, places where you already have had development. Right?
Yeah.
And even better if it's it's housing development and we are improving the housing. Right?
Yeah.
But there are many bits of land round about Paisley that used to be industrial, right? Unlikely to be industrial again. They should be used before we go around destroying a piece of valuable breathing space, green belt like Honeybog Hill. I can't see a reason to build on Honeybog Hill when we have, for instance, the BASF factory being shut down. That land needs to get used first and foremost before any green belt.
Yeah. Is there a problem with maybe how much companies have to pay for that land? Is that something that the council has much say in? Or?
You're well outside my experience in that. I'm not a land economist and wouldn't be able to say whether or not the prices are there.
No.
I would say just one of the problems that many councils have had, and we have a slight one here as well, in dealing with the big supermarkets and their policies of land banking. For that, very much, it's about them keeping other organisations, other supermarkets out of the area rather than having a plan to build themselves. For that, and in terms of Paisley's current situation, and here I might get myself into trouble if I ever end up on the planning department for this, but I think we're well served with supermarkets there, and I don't see a case for building any new large ones in the areas we have. Much better that we had housing on those places so that people could live close to jobs, therefore eliminating excessive commuting and things like that. We need to start planning our world so that we work it effectively rather than just being the slave to outside forces.
Absolutely. So I know George Adam, the MSP, has been saying similar things recently in the media, and so there seems to be kind of a cross-party consensus on this. What can the kind of political forces that be do to stop supermarkets just buying up land? And
well, we certainly can't do anything about buying up land, right? You have a free market. That's people will be entitled to buy what they like. But I'm a very big fan, and this is the policy of one of the political parties I'm a member of. I'm also a member of the Co-op Party.
Oh, okay,
They support land value tax, right? Yeah. And one of the advantages of that is if you held land, like land banks, you would be taxed on it. Therefore discouraging them from having that policy. So I certainly support land value tax as an answer to that. If you're saying what should political parties do, that's not a statement on behalf of the Labour Party, but it is on behalf of the Co-op Party.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So do you fear that other developers will apply for permission to build houses in Honeybog Hill in the future?
I wouldn't use the word fear. As I said earlier on, as far as a developer's concerned, it's an ideal site, right? Close to a big conurbation like Glasgow, and close to the centre of Paisley as well. Very attractive, if you got houses there. It's also close to a railway line. One of the plans in the past actually envisaged moving the railway station to that point and building not on just on Honeybog Hill but on the other side of the railway as well, creating a wee new town. Effectively in the scale that was being proposed. Again, that went nowhere, but because people are entitled to have plans, people are entitled to have ideas, but the rest of us are entitled to have our opinion about them as well, and say no when we think we mean no.
Yeah. Do you think that the community will ever be just worn down into acceptance?
Sorry?
Do you think the community will ever be worn down into acceptance just if, do you feel the developers... No, you think that's likely?
That's very unlikely. As I said about my constituent, she might be 90 now, but she was up for the fight. Right? And I think what happens, and certainly that's the experience I had with the social media, is that people get more and more determined rather than less and less, right?
Sure.
By this, and that's why I said the only disagreement I have with Stuart Milne is that they should stop doing this. Right. It's very nice every 10 years to have something to campaign against, but we are going to continue to campaign they're not going to get to build on Honeyball
Sure.
Hill, and they would be far better using the energy resources that they have there to look at these brownfield sites I was talking about.
Yeah.
Let's get development on them.
Do you think obviously when developers come in, it's always a rallying point for community spirit? Do you feel like community spirit is as strong these days?
And, it's not the word I would have used, but I like the idea of community spirit, and it is exactly the description of what happened. When it first went up on the social media, people started printing off the leaflet, right, distributing amongst the neighbours who weren't on Facebook or whatever social media that they used, and it went, it brought people closer together, showed people that they do have a shared and similar interest. So I say it was nothing but good for community spirit, right, and having that. But I mean, we do a number of things in Ralston. We have a community games, for instance, right? It's very, very well supported.
Yeah. The Greenbelt system was first established in the 1940s. Is it now outdated?
Absolutely not, right? For that, it's more than just. I think I'd referred earlier. It's more than just keeping a strip of grass between communities. Although I think having a clearly defined border and boundary between towns is a useful thing. But you've also got the wildlife corridor aspect to it. Right, that people sometimes overlook. Right, that if you want, you can't just isolate pools of wildlife. Right, they have to be able to move, freely about, and Greenbelt helps that greatly. But the whole idea of the lung, right, of a city, I think still applies. Right, you need to have green round about you, easily accessible, just for the proper development of education, leisure, and a decent lifestyle.
Yeah, excellent. So you mentioned brownfield sites earlier. Do you think there are enough to cope with local demands, or is some Greenbelt expansion inevitable?
No, it's in our area. I wouldn't want to comment outside of Renfrewshire, but certainly within Renfrewshire we have thousands of available spaces. You only have to think about the Bishopton development. Where there are quite literally going to be thousands of houses built there. We are looking at other areas round about Paisley, and as I said, we have the BASF development that's there. Take a bit more local. There's room for development along the Seattle Road, which is there, and we still haven't finished developing the Hawkhead hospital site. Which it's been a bit more piecemeal, but I think that's one of the things the developers learned, right, with that site, is you can't just dump down 100 houses or 300 houses in a particular area and hope not to affect the market. Now, a lot of it was to do with the 2008 crash. But they found that now, by building 2 or 3 houses at a time, right, they actually accommodate the market rather than flood it. So I think we actually have a more sensible way of building now, and I'll just have to add on the Blackford Road, because it's an issue of immense pride to me. The first council houses built, right, were built in my ward. I think the first one's built for 28 years in Paisley.
Right.
Actual proper council housing, right, which is something that gets forgotten in this particular debate.
Yeah. So you mentioned council housing there. Obviously, there's since the 1980s there's been a slow build up of the council housing list. Not a lot of people were able to get social housing. Do you think councils have had their hands tied in terms of being able to build new council houses?
There was for a long while they were skewed very much, social housing was skewed very much in favour of housing associations. Now, I'm on a housing association committee, I'm a big supporter of housing associations, but they needed a more level playing field with the council as well. And as I said, we managed to build nearly 30 houses on the Barhead Road, on the Barhead Road, right there. The Blackford Road ones were actually housing association, so we are continually using up those spaces that are there, the black or brownfield sites. And I think that's the way to go. because there is a reason why there was a house there in the first place.
Yeah.
Because people like living there.
Yeah.
Right? All we really need to do is improve the stock, better the housing, and improve people's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So throughout the campaign, there was quite a few councillors involved, along with yourself. Is there a cross-party consensus within the council against large-scale property developments of this kind?
Yes.
Yeah.
You could. I'm sure you could prove that if you had to look at the minutes. Sure. I wouldn't want to overstate it, right?
Yeah.
In that, but I mean, if you're a councillor of whatever party, right? You want to make sure that you do represent your community in some way. There's very few communities that are happy with large scale housing developments, right? And just to make it absolutely specific, in Honeybog Hill, right, there is nobody wants to see Honeybog Hill changed from the situation that it is just now.
Yeah. So your substitute on the Archaeology Services Committee. Given the historical finds on Honeybog Hill, is there likely to be archaeological exploration at the site?
There's no envisaged plans for that, right? But I would certainly be very happy with that, particularly if it was around the Second World War archaeology that's there. There's an old observation post that goes back to the Blitz, which I'm very happy to see investigated. And there's a record of a Roman coin being found there. But as anybody who's watched Time Team knows, it has to be found in stratification.
Of course,
Right, could have just dropped out of somebody's pocket any time. But it was found there, and certainly we've every reason to believe this was part of Roman Britain, and if we could do more about that, I'd love that. But that's a guess.
Yeah. Do you think the local community would be happy with that kind of large-scale exploration? Or?
Well, that's the point about archaeological investigation. It's not large scale, right? It would be done, carefully. An ideal example of that, in fact, is the not far from where we're sitting, the Paisley Drain. Right? I don't know if you're aware of that, but we regularly have the Glasgow University Archaeological group come down and have a wee look at that, open another wee pit, discover something new and better, right? Than last time. And all I can say is it attracts public attention and support like almost nothing else. Right?
Really?
People queue to have a look in a hole. Right? But the last time they found what they thought was the foundations of the bakery for the monastery. Right? And I've got to say, even I was thrilled when it was pointed out. Where the burning would have been associated with actual baking of bread.
Right. So people would, in my opinion, people would love an archaeological thing. And if you can find some money for it, I'll be happy to support that. I'll see what I can do. Does that leave any lasting impact in the landscapes?
No, I mean, you dig a hole, you fill it in. It's, archaeologists are quite good at that.
Wow. Would there have been the same public or media interest? I was in the Paisley Daily Express quite a few times. Would there have been the same public media interest had the development been scheduled to take place in a poorer area in Paisley or Ayrshire?
I'm not sure, right? Because the specific question about Honeybog Hill, right, was, as I said, the is Greenbelt is a place that people think of, ownership, right? With the small O, people feel that it's theirs. Right, my next door neighbour, there used to be a tree grew at the top of the hill, and they used to call it Hutton's tree, right? Just because they used to walk the dog up to it. That was the sort of ownership that that the people feel about it. That tree's gone now, right? From there, but people like that particular thing, and I don't think that's got anything specifically to do with class, right? That if Honeybog Hill was in Ferguson, I think people would be fighting for it just as hard.
So there was a lot talked about the local infrastructure and how it would be able to cope with any development. So what would, in your opinion, what would have been the impact on local infrastructure in terms of schools and roads?
I said this actually at the public meeting, right, that we're jumping ahead, right, to think about the arguments you would have, about a specific project. Our position in Ralston is that we don't want a project, right? So the details of it are rather irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
Now, that having been said, it would be very, very disruptive, right? Because a lot of the infrastructure is 1930s infrastructure. We had an issue like this on the Glasgow Road to do with a Scottish Water issue, right? And when these pipes were put in, they were of a certain diameter. The people washed dishes by hand. People washed clothes in a sink. They didn't have dishwashers and washing machines and all the other things. So the capacity of these pipes weren't up. But they have to be changed, and that took months. Very, very disruptive, right? And on the Glasgow Road now, a little less disruptive if it was. On the side streets, right, there, but it's still very, very disruptive to the individuals that live on those streets, and totally unnecessary. As I said, we don't need that. The issue about the school is Ralston School is heavily oversubscribed because it has a good reputation. My own children went there. I have certainly no criticisms. Right, the education that they got, but certainly the school that they went to, and the school is now, right, where it's chalk and cheese as far as crowding is concerned. Right? I mean, every available bit of space has currently been used in that school, and you certainly wouldn't be able to accommodate 100 new homes, or the original proposal I fought against 250 homes was what I was talking about. So you'd be talking about not just a new wing. You're talking about a new school with that number of people. So especially if you're at the point where it's full. So the arguments that people were making were valid. I just think they were premature, right? Because as long as we're in the position that we don't want it built anyway, right? We don't really have to argue about the drains or the extra traffic.
Well, so when people were thinking about these issues, did they maybe highlight existing problems in infrastructure, that it was already out of date?
Well, we were addressing them. I mean, that's the point of my story about Glasgow Road disruption. Right? It was addressed. We're dealing with that, and as that comes up, that's my point about improving the environment, improving the housing. What was acceptable, reasonable. In fact, what was your a very nice area, right, in the 1930s. We were top of the range. It's not top of the range now. We need to keep improving.
Sure. Right. Did Stuart Milne offer any solutions to these issues? Did they offer perhaps to build a new school, or?
No, didn't offer to build a new school. But again, that's far too soon in the process. And I would just reiterate, as long as we are saying no, then none of this stuff needs to be discussed.
We kind of went over this earlier, but has the episode rekindled the community spirit in Ralston? Can you keep this going?
To keep it going? Well, it's certainly enlivened the community spirit, right? To use your word, there's no doubt with that. I think it'd be unfair to say rekindle, because there's always been a good community spirit there. Always had an active community, especially around the school. I mean, the school's one of the crystallising points for the community. But we have a good community council. There's one of the campaigns that we had for years was to get the sports centre, the sports pavilion, reused. It's up and being used now, and the local people seem to be very happy with that. So we have a good community, and I don't want to too modern to say vibe, right? People recognise that Ralston is a community discreet in itself. It has a nice environment. We want to keep that environment nice, but it'd be nice to make sure that we deal with any of the issues about environment that come up.